welcome to another episode of Mississippi Stories. And before we go any further, I know you may have noticed there is something different today. And you're right, I'm not Marshall Ramsey. I'm Candi Richardson, Sales and Marketing Director with Mississippi Today, and one of the co-producers of Mississippi Stories. Marshall is out saving the world today, and in his absence, I am keeping his seat warm and not missing the opportunity to chat it up with some very special, super talented guests today. We're actually in Cleveland at the Grammy Museum in celebration of the Music Tourism Convention. This is actually the second annual one for the United States, 6th global. And for those of you who don't know, there are actually 2 Grammy locations in the United States. There's one way over on the West Coast in Los Angeles and one in the heart of the Delta. And I'd say rightfully so, as the Delta and Mississippi is the birthplace of America's music. But enough about all of that. I'm super duper excited about our guests today. You may know them from any number of things. NBC's America's Got Talent. You may know them from Southern Living, Country Living, Next Best in Country. I could go on and on, but I won't. Chapel Hart, thank y'all so much for joining me. So excited to meet you. I'll let you introduce yourselves.
Okay, well, I'm Trea.
I'm Danica.
I'm Devynn.
And we're Chapel Hart.
So awesome to meet y'all. You've been on the road now since January. And congratulations, I know it's your first headlining tour.
Yeah. We call it our big girl tour. It's our first big girl tour with the bus and all the bells and whistles.
I love that. I love that. So 60 stops and counting. And you've taken a little detour to come back to your home state, so welcome home.
Yeah, good to be home.
Awesome, at the Grammy Museum for this celebration, so it's so good to have you. I'd like to talk about that tour a little bit. Tell me, what is it like being on the road? What is it like touring? Are you living out of a suitcase? Tell us what's going on.
All the things.
Living out of a suitcase is an understatement at this point. So after we did AGT, we had an influx of new fans. And it has been so cool to be able to kind of go outside of where we usually kind of tour and make stops. So now we're getting to meet our fans from all over. And it has been absolutely incredible. I mean, that show, goodness, I don't think any of us have cried as much as we have during this tour. Like, Trea has cried every single night.
No, wait. Actually, there was a night and a half. Well, let's just say one night.
A night and an almost made it night.
There was one night that I didn't cry, but I think that's like the beauty of the glory days, because these are literally our glory days. And sometimes, a lot of times fans tell us, make sure you stop and take it in. But like everything happens so fast, you know, it's like city to city to city to city. And I kind of like, I feel like, maybe for me, but maybe for the other, it's for me, but maybe for the other 2 as well. But like, I kind of find my peace on stage. And so sometimes it's like those moments hit like, oh my God.
Right.
We're doing this. And then before you know it,
and then, you know, and also too, it's like, we're sharing our experiences of our glory days. And also like, we're getting a chance to, you know, we watch as other people are starting on new journeys. They're getting married, they're getting divorced, their children are leaving the house, or they're becoming grandparents and parents. And so all these people starting out on new journeys. And so it's like we get a chance to kind of share our experience, but the energy that we get back. And also there's some stuff that like we kind of preach about in the show as well, but it's stuff that we're dealing with right now. And so like Trea said, it's really hard to not get emotional at a lot of the songs and talking points and all the things, but it's just been an incredible tour. And like Dev said, out of a suitcase may be an understatement, because anytime that I'm tired of shopping, we just.
I was tired of shopping the second week of the tour, okay?
Dev's not much, it seems like it, but Dev's not much of a shopper anyway, but me.
Gotcha.
I get to spend the day in one store.
But I feel like at this point we should have like an Amazon sponsorship, because like I think we've gotten used to like we'll order stuff and like send it to a couple cities ahead and like get to a hotel.
Right.
Like, I guess all
Amazon,
of this stuff
you
is
hear
for
that?
y'all.
There you go.
I think what a lot of people would love to hear about, and just knowing, first of all, you 2 are sisters, first cousins. So that makes me think that you guys have been singing together forever and ever and ever. Tell us how long you've been singing together. How did Chapel Hart come to be?
Well, you are right. Since we're related, we have been singing forever and ever. Amen. Oh Lord. But Chapel Hart started in 2018. We were Danica and I were in New Orleans and singing, and we had brought on a third singer, and she had to go back to Australia. And Danica was like, you know, I think both of them. Once you have the 3-part harmony, it's like you can't really go back to just 2.
Oh, yeah.
And as the Lord would have it, Dev lost her job, and so she because he had to close one door to open up the big old garage. That's what happened. But so she called Danica and then convinced her to move down. And so we started out in New Orleans doing the Bourbon Street thing, the Frenchman Street thing, and it kind of you know, it was growing. But, you know, the 3 of us from South Mississippi living in Louisiana, people would ask, like, what do y'all want to do? And we're like, we sing country. And they were like,
nobody plays country here. So we were like, oh, okay. So it ended up being like, we started this cover band and we were playing like, it was like an iPod shuffle. Like all of the, you just put like all this music that you've ever downloaded. And it just is like, and it was such a fun experience. But we really hit that place where we said, you know what, if we're ever going to be real artists, if we're ever gonna, you know, we've got to sit down and write down our experiences, and we've got to sing the music that's in our heart. And like I said, and we started, Trea and I started writing, and then Dev came along, and we started like putting all these pieces together, and really, you know, we were so nervous to share our souls with people who had been who had this kind of concept of, you know, who they thought we were, you know, who we were and what we did, and so we were so nervous to scale back and say, okay, this is it. This is from when this is when we were little girls. This is when we were growing up. This is falling in love. This is heartbreak. This is making friends. And this is us in a body of music. And to our surprise, even the people who, you know, knew us for, you know, being a party band loved it. And they were like, absolutely. I don't like country music, but I love this. I love the way y'all tell the story. I love what you do. And so, well, we pressed the gas and hadn't looked back.
Absolutely. I think that it would be very fair to say people have been very, very receptive. Mm-hmm. Speaking of people being receptive, I watched your clip from America's Got Talent. Mm-hmm. That initial performance was absolutely amazing. You received a standing ovation. You received the golden buzzer. And if I'm not mistaken, they were out of golden buzzers, right?
Yes.
And they decided y'all are so amazing that they got together collectively and were like, y'all are absolutely getting a golden buzzer.
That was the second ever group golden buzzer in AGT history, and we were
That's amazing. That's
y'all
amazing.
Right? No, we were just so shocked, and I tell people TV is so different. We filmed for 3 days to get that 3 minutes of footage, and so we had no clue. So we were just thinking we were going to go, and they were going to tape us auditioning, and that was going to be it. And so we were just not ready. So we called it the holding cell. So it was kind of like jail a little bit, but it was like
interesting.
And it was a variety show, so there was like birds and animals and goats and people
like
guys with swords, like
guy on fire in the corner. There was a lot going on.
It was a lot. So by the time it was time, we were like one of the last to audition. So by the time we went up, it was just like, look, y'all, this is it. This is it.
Right.
And
go home.
Yeah, and like I said, we were a little bit nervous even too. But I think once we started singing, we just kind of like, this is a Chapel Hart show with all our friends.
Absolutely amazing.
And you know, we could have never even believed that we would have been able to. We didn't even know we could get the golden buzzer, but to feel the energy in the room and
you could
it was just
so emotional.
It was so powerful that even when we watch it to this day, we still cry. Like we like, so that's off limits on the buzz. Like if you see that clip, you keep going because.
Oh yeah, like I'll never forget. We were what city were we in at the nail shop, and then like the nail techs, like you could kind of hear them whisper trying to. And once they figured it out, one of them put it on the TV. And like,
so like now everybody's in the nail
up.
We're crying at the nail shop. The people are crying in the nail shop. Like, why would you do this?
Oh my
and
God.
So like, it's been such a beautiful moment that I am so honored and just I feel so blessed to be able to share that because I always say July the 19th was our audition day, and I said July 19th, the day the world cried with Chapel Hart. Yes. Like everybody was like, we're crying, I'm crying right now on the couch, and I'm like, us too.
There's something about that too that I wanted to make sure I highlighted because I watched, y'all were all emotional. But you said something that really stuck with me when you were talking about why you were so emotional and the challenges that you had faced as a group breaking into the country music industry, because you didn't look typically like what people expected of country music artists. Can you talk about that? But then can you also talk about what has happened since then? Because we know that it's changed for you, but I think it's really important to speak to that.
I said the comment heard around the world. Okay, and it's crazy though, because what I meant was, I said country music doesn't always look like us, and yes, Black, but also like even in how we look as a whole, and as a trios are always really, really rare in music, because it's, you can get one person to get along with their team, but also then when you got to get two people to get along with each other and then a team of people, but three is, usually you see trios have the shortest career spans typically, but so I was like, country music doesn't always look like us, and we've got somebody who's super thin, somebody who's curvy, somebody who's plus size, so in my brain, and so in my brain I often say that, like, so that was what was on my mind. Right. But I think the even bigger thing for me was that we'd been in Nashville like for years trying to like pitch our songs and, and share our music. And we're like, hey, won't you come listen to this? Like, would you listen to this? And people would always say like, that's good, but if you would write with this person, that's really good. But if we could put you in a room with this person, you could write with this person. So it always felt like our writing was good, but not good enough to be, to stand on its own. And so, but that day in that room, it didn't matter what we looked like. The people heard it. They saw Chapel Hart, they heard it, and they got it. And they rooted so hard for us. And that was a moment of validation for us that we are good enough. We are enough. And so, but I'm with you though. Well, and I feel like I kind of heard like where you were getting to, but now it feels like country music is changing. There's a door that's open. I watch TikTok and I watch young Black country music artists play guitar and sing and all the thing. And I hope that maybe in some way that, that we did kind of, maybe that we were, I don't want to say that we opened that door to, because we hear so many comments where people say, I've loved country music, but I never could listen to it out loud. Or people would think I was crazy, or nobody in my family were like, girl, what is this?
Y'all made it cool.
Like, come on. We're country when country literally was not cool. And
that's still one of my favorite comments to hear. And then like we hear it from young Black kids, we hear it from Latina couples, like people from all different backgrounds, but say like, I've lived this experience just like y'all. I have these memories. I have this lifestyle, but commercially that's not what's expected. And so of course, most of them hide it. We were at a show, two sisters, and they were like, oh man, all our friends used to think we were crazy. But it was like, some people say we're a little rough around the edges, but I think our willingness to just be unapologetically us makes other people okay with just being themselves. Because Danica always says the biggest flex you have is that there's only one you.
In the entire world.
I may steal that one.
Well, that's why I tell when we go to elementary schools and or when we go to schools and talk, and and it really is like there is absolutely not another Candi in the entire, like another you in the entire world. So when people are like, well, you can maybe you can do without me, but there's not another me, and I can be of you somewhere else. So it's just such a beautiful thing.
I want to touch on something else too, because after that performance, you not only got the golden buzzer, you not only got a standing ovation, but two legends in country reached out to you. Dolly Parton gave you a shout out, was very happy with what you did with You Can Have Them, Jolene, which I thought that was such a great take on Jolene. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And then the late, great Loretta Lynn. Tell us about Fist City. Tell us what you think, because she passed before she had the opportunity to actually hear it. But do you think you made her proud?
Ooh,
look, I'm gonna say yes, and yes. And I think that first, we love Loretta's writing and her writing style, and for so long we
can't flip her.
We couldn't, what I'm saying? Dolly was so sweet, and she was like, please don't take my man. Loretta was like, girl, I will grab you by the hair of the head if you don't. And so like, it's how Chapel Hart would have said, look, listen, girl, listen. And so, but we were just so honored and just like, what? That she was like, won't y'all do something to one of mine? But I think if Loretta would have had the opportunity to hear it, I think she would have just been so, yeah, I think she would have been excited because I tell people all the time, when we do songs like that, or we kind of intermesh with the songs that have already done, I feel like it's us kind of exposing a new generation to the good stuff, the old stuff, the stuff that we came up on. And so it allows country music and the storytelling to live on. And because I watch people like review the songs and they go, well, now this is kind of cool. This cool, but who is Jolene? Like, why we? He was like, I'm riding with you, but who is Jolene? We gotta go find. Like, I gotta go find the rest of the story. And so everybody's like, you gotta go see Dolly Parton. That's the original. And then an artist by the name of Cam, she's got a song called Diane, which is a song where Jolene is telling Diane, I didn't even know he was married. Like, listen, like let's sit down and talk. And so it feels like we're part of this Netflix series of like Jolene and all the things. So
I love it.
It feels good. It feels so good to be. It feels like we're part of history or helping make history.
I love it. Outside of Dolly Parton and Loretta Lynn, who are some of your biggest influences?
Oh,
let me start.
Well, I was gonna say I'm gonna let her start because she's got the most across the board one.
I think yes, mine I think can kind of go for everybody. Gretchen Wilson, we absolutely love Gretchen, and a couple years ago they gave me the best birthday gift that they probably will ever get me in my life. And probably the last one too.
Birthday.
I got to meet Gretchen Wilson, but we all met her. But
that's really amazing.
And it was just super cool to just kind of be in the same room as somebody who we looked up to growing up and listening to. And I think Gretchen kind of gave us, like, when Gretchen came out, she was different. She wasn't black, but she was different from the normal country standard at the time. And I think that just kind of gave us the push that, like, if Gretchen could be herself, like, there's no reason why we can't be ourselves either.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna have to say, like, I'm gonna have to go with Garth Brooks, and also on my list as well. And we've had the privilege of meeting him, and literally the kindest person you'll ever meet. So Garth Brooks and Vince Gill are on my list, and Vince is he's I feel like in real life he's my bestie too. Like, he's just like, I feel like him and my dad would be best friends in real life, and they probably are. Knowing my dad,
I was about to say he probably is on the phone with them right now.
Right, like my dad just knows everybody.
For me, I would probably have to say, yeah, this has got to be a twofer. One, maybe because I'm still in love with him, and one day he's gonna realize it, and then we're gonna mutually leave our spouses. But Alan Jackson, and like. And it's such a, like, I feel like that's musically my next goal for us to achieve. Because, like, Alan Jackson has 1,497 music videos. Yeah. When I say, every single song there was a video. And I feel like he was part of that, like, kept country in the 90s that, like, kind of, like, just punched a stamp in it. So, like, Alan Jackson, definitely the man. And also just Marty Stewart. Like, he is such a fixture.
Marty is so hilarious.
And it's hilarious.
And we love him.
And, like, I feel like we've known him a lot longer than we actually have. And we were playing at the Ramen the first time we played at the Ramen. And we like, ran into him in person. And maybe I'm just too dang Mississippi. And I came out of the bathroom trying to fix my clothes, and
I was like, monster.
And he just screamed back and laughed.
It was just the most Mississippi moment at the Ramen I think that the Ramen has ever had. Okay,
sounds
I
like
love how, like, energetically mysterious.
Yes.
Like, he has the swag of, like, this very mysterious
He just kind of, like, floats.
But
and then,
he's
like,
also still very outgoing.
Yes.
And
he's like that was a floating mystery, but then when he opens his mouth, it's like your Mississippi cousin. Yes.
It's your mystery in the back, party.
He's like a silent disco. It's like from the outside, you don't know that there is a full-on party going in there.
Wow. I'd also like to congratulate you on the Grand Ole Opry. I know that was amazing, for standing ovations and the holy grail of country music. You have an album coming out in May. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I'll do the Opry and then you can do the album because that is a whole thing. But when I say one of those dream come true moments, like playing at the Opry it was everything we could have imagined and more. Like from the time you literally walk into the door, you can feel like, you know, sometimes there are those places that's just, you can feel the spirit of those people who've been in the halls before. And, you know, we've always heard people say that the Opry, once you play there, it's like family. And, you know, sometimes it's pretty cliche, but it is literally like family. From the first time, from the time you walk into the door, Mr. Jim Shimmerhorn, we call him Uncle Jim at this point. He's going to greet you, make sure you're taken care of, ain't lemonade, and the hospitality. Like, everybody is like family. And at this point, I'm convinced that they only invite us back to the Opry so Uncle Kevin can come. Because like we'll walk in and we're like, hey, and they're like, hey girls, where's Kevin?
I'm like, why are you on the
I'm like, literally,
with our dad?
I'm like, literally the entire Chapel Hart is here. Why? Like, how are y'all asking for our dad? So he's the real superstar at the Opry. We come and we show up and sing on his behalf, I feel like.
Yeah.
But the Glory Days album, it's coming out, and honestly, in short, like if for all of those who have been to the show, anybody who has been to the Glory Days show, and you've been a part of like the Chapel Hart experience, like this is what the album will be like. Where you'll listen to it and you'll laugh, you'll listen to it and you'll cry, you'll listen to it and you know and you'll go, oh man, remember when? And then you'll listen to it and hopefully be inspired to go, man, like, you know, life ain't over yet. Like, let's go. And so it's just all the things. It's a little bit of that like nostalgic, you know, from your college and high school days, but also there's still some that's so relevant to right now. And it's just like, you know, it's an adventure through, like, you know, it feels like an adventure. It's one of those that you just put it on in the car and you jump in and you go, where am I going today? Like, and you have no map, you turn off Apple Maps and you just ride and you discover new things. And, you know, I feel like that's what it's going to feel like with this album. And there's going to be some exciting stuff too, like Welcome to Fist City. And we're getting ready to work on this music video soon. And it seems like, I said I love it because I think when people hear it, they just see the video. And I'm like, maybe we should just leave it at that.
As soon as it came out, everybody was like,
where's the video?
Where's the video?
I'm invested. When is the video coming? I'm like, we hadn't even done it yet. So, yes.
So much fun. Y'all, we are so excited that you took the time to sit down and visit with us today. We have so many fans across the country. You have definitely made the state of Mississippi proud. Thank you, thank you. Best of luck in everything. I may hang around and watch you perform.
Yes!
You can watch more episodes at MississippiToday.org. Follow us on social media. And until next time.